Here at Alexandria House, the Startup Sisterhood LA program is offering classes to community members to start their own businesses and create sustainable sources of income. Since the start of the pandemic, we have successfully helped over 65 women launch their own businesses, creating financial independence and long-term success.
And today, we'll be talking with Darian Ham, a social entrepreneur and healthcare professional.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Drake.
I'm Darian Ham, and this is the Startup Sisterhood podcast.
I never asked where you're from. What was it like growing up there?
Okay, so I'm from Inglewood. Grew up in LA my whole entire life. It was fun. I grew up in foster care. I was with my mom since I was like 7 days old. You know, she raised me. She adopted me until I was like, she adopted me at 12. And my mom was an older lady. She had 7 kids before I came along, and she also raised her grandkids, and then she raised other people's kids. She fostered kids. She had her own daycare.
So she was a mom to everyone.
She was a mom to everyone. And, I grew up in a house, my own backyard, bed, like a kid, dog, cats. My mom was not just a people lover, she was also an animal lover. So I grew up with dogs, cats, turtles, birds, you name it, I probably had it, except for maybe a lizard. Caught a lizard, but I didn't have it. I didn't keep it. Yeah, growing up was, looking back, at the way I grew up, my mom, she did care. There was only so much she could do for me because, like I said, when I was adopted, or when my mom had me, she was about 62 or 60, like around there. So she couldn't, take me to like the amusement parks and things like that. But she was very involved in my life. She took care of me. Yeah, when she ended up passing away, she wanted her last of her grandkids, because I would be the last one to give her a grandkid. And she ended up passing away the next night. And then I ended up finding out that I was pregnant with Nova 9 months later. But growing up in Inglewood had its ups and downs, I saw gang violence, I've seen shootings, but I also was able to see good things, I grew up around a lot of family. Like I said, I have 7 siblings in my adopted family. So yeah, everybody treated me like I was their baby. So I couldn't get past anything because somebody was going to discipline me.
Yeah.
I grew up with love. I grew up with great Christmases. I grew up, my mom put me in everything: acting, dancing, basketball, softball, tennis. I was really big on going to the beach, so I used to stay in Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach all the time. Like, me and my friends, we would meet at my house and walk from Inglewood on Imperial and Crenshaw all the way to like Dockweiler.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were really gunning for it then.
Yeah, so or we would walk to like the South Bay Galleria or things like that. Like, we were kids, so it was fun growing up. My favorite thing would be to like go to Redondo Beach, and I would like to surf. So nice. I would just either I walk, bus, bike it down there, and then surf, get in the water, stay there all day and all night, come home. My mom's like, "Where have you been all day?" I'd be like,
catching the waves.
"Oh yeah, you were at the beach, huh? You smell like the beach. Go and get in the shower," and things like that. So yeah, I love the beach.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you were just full of hobbies, period.
Yeah,
trying out a lot of things. I think that's really good. I think like kids nowadays don't get the chance to explore as much, but there's really a lot out there for kids to do.
There is.
Yeah.
I think this day and age, it's not the same time as when I grew up. Even though I still had a lot of dangers. There are still bad people out there. Mostly I grew up in a neighborhood where everybody looked out for you, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody knew my mom. So they're going to make sure, okay, Darian makes it down the street. Oh, okay, you know, I seen Darian walking and things like that. It always get back to my mom. You don't have that now. You don't have the security as like the neighborhood being a village.
Mm-hmm.
Even like I said, like if my siblings didn't discipline me, if my neighbors found out something I did was wrong, I'm gonna hear from them. You know, that's how it was.
Yeah, so you were the baby of the family, but not necessarily like a little princess. Like everyone was keeping you in check.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you know, I was a kid, so you know, you have curiosity, you get in trouble, and things like that. You try to do things that you're not supposed to do, you know. But yeah, just I did also give my mom a run for her money, but
run for her money.
You know, because like I said, I was a kid. But you know, my mom made sure that, you know, she wanted me to experience different things,
Yeah.
And you have to allow your kids to get that experience.
Yeah.
You know, and I think now it's just, there are things for the kids to do, but you do have to be careful of the people that you're trusting with your child,
Right.
because things happen, you know.
Yeah. So your siblings you were all looking out for each other then?
Well, they were already grown, so technically I couldn't really look out for them. But you know, I mean, like I had my siblings back if anything happened, but you know, they were definitely looking out for me. Whether it's like homework, whether it's like, oh, I need to go here, whether it's like, oh, I need this, I need to buy this, you know, things like that. They did. And you know, they were more like not necessarily siblings. They're more like my brother, but low key like a dad, you know, a father figure. My sister was more like a mom figure, you know. So it's like I had extra respect for them because they were older. Like I couldn't tell if I'm 8. I couldn't tell like, you know, a 30-year-old to shut up. Like, you know, like they're gonna be like, who are you talking to? You know. Versus if it was like we grew up and we're around the same age, you know. Then my mom was like, you guys stop fighting. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So it was a different. In that type, it was like a different type of
dynamic. Like
yeah,
dynamic.
but it was really cool though. Like my brothers and my sisters, like they did not make me feel that I was not a part of the siblinghood. You know, they really was like, oh, you know, whatever. If I felt left out, they would always, you know, hey, Darian, like, what do you think about this and this and that? You know, they were still my brothers and sisters. Till this day, they're still my brothers and sisters, you know.
Yeah. Are you still in touch with them?
Yeah. Yeah. We have a whole family chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're spamming you?
Yeah. Like, I'm in touch with all of them. Even my brother that passed away this year, like, you know, before he passed away, he called me. And he told me how much he loved me and how proud he was of me. And, you know, he just wanted me to keep going. And he was telling me he wanted me to have his car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, he really did love me. He didn't see me as just, oh, this is my adopted sister. No, he saw me as his sister. Even to this day, if I call one of my sisters, they're going to pick up. And if they hear that I'm hurt, they're going to be like, what happened? What's wrong? You know, or even my brother, like, we're very close. We're very close.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like when people think of the foster system, like you hear a lot of stories where siblings don't get along, or, you know, we just had Kiana K on here earlier in the podcast, and she was talking about her own struggles with, you know, families that took her in that weren't necessarily like giving her the support that she needed.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you found your people that were able to stand up for you and just make sure that you weren't totally on your own.
Yeah, I thank God every day for that. I thank him for just guiding me to my mom. And it's crazy because my birth family knew them, but they didn't know them. It's just like my sister was best friends with one of our neighbors. Like I said, they grew up together. They have over 40 years of friendship. Because they grew up in that time where like once you become friends, you become family. And one of her best friends, one of his baby mothers is my birth mother's best friend. So my mom seen her, but she didn't really know who she was. And when she got me, she didn't really know that was my birth mom. So it all kind of circles in together. But I thank God, because I could have been with people that just didn't care. I could have gone through horrible experiences, and I just think that he sheltered me for all of that. Because who knows what my life would have been. So yeah.
No, I'm glad. Like, I think that especially at Alexandria House, like, a lot of people they come in lacking for family, but like, you can find family anywhere, just like depending on like their openness and the fact that your neighborhood was able to kind of support your mom and your siblings. Like, I think that's something that is like really valuable for like how you've come up, because you're such a great like outgoing person.
I try to be.
No, I really do think that presence like has to be instilled in you early on. Were you shy growing up, maybe, or?
I kind of was, but I came from a family, like I said, my brother that passed away, he was very outgoing, and he's always taught me, like, be yourself no matter who's in the room. You're important too. And my mom is the same way. Like, you couldn't tell her nothing. Even like at 62, you could not tell this woman nothing. And my brother's the same way. Like, you can't tell him nothing. And I'm more like, okay, I'm more chill when it comes to that. But watching them, but growing up, even my sister, you can't tell her nothing. That was their presence. So I think seeing that and growing up with that, you become that. So I always been, I guess, outgoing, and my mom always taught me to question everything. And it kind of backfired on her because I started to question everything.
Started talking back a little bit?
Yeah. I'm like, well, why do I have to do that? And she's like, why do you have an attitude? Just do what I want. And you say, you told me to question everything. Like, so I took that to heart.
Yeah.
So I think that's the rebel side of me. For sure. But yeah.
Well, I think it's good, especially in your field now that you're in healthcare. It's important now more than ever to make sure that you're getting the record straight, I guess, like kind of questioning everything, like you said, and just making sure everything is according to, I guess, standard procedures.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, like, even before that, though, like in school, did that kind of carry on in you, like that curiosity?
Yes, and it got me into a lot of trouble.
Trouble?
It got me into a lot of trouble because I would question everything. If I didn't really understand what was being taught, or if it didn't make sense to me, I was one of those kids that would actually speak up and speak out about it. And a lot of the teachers that I had were more like, I said this is what the book said, and that's it. And it's just like, no. I feel like there's three sides of the truth, and even though it's in what they say black and white, how am I supposed to know that this is real just because it's in a book?
Yeah.
So a lot of teachers didn't like that. And
you raising your hand a little too much.
Probably that. I was one of those kids to just walk out of class, but like, this doesn't make sense. I'm gonna go. I'd rather be outside. I'd rather no, because this is not making any sense. And yeah, it did. But I was also a good student too. When I honed in on things. Like if I go for something, I'm gonna do it and go for it and execute it. So I was one of those kids. It's like, I'm smart, but I'm just probably gonna give you a run for your money, but I will do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was one of those kids. So it was like a good and a bad. You have to balance it. So when you're growing up and you're a kid and you're learning, you don't know how to balance it yet. Now, being older, yeah, I know how to balance it.
Yeah, well, I know you're very studious nowadays. I mean, you just completed your program at ATI.
Yes, ATI College. I just completed my BS. I made honor roll.
Let's go. Well done.
Yes, and it was a journey. It was a journey. I went through a lot while I was doing my program. Which actually got me into that, which is crazy. So when COVID happened, I was having a lot of health issues. I had gallbladder issues, and I was in and out of the hospital. And at that time, during COVID, you couldn't have any procedures done. So I was in and out the hospital, and I would get, ultrasound done on my abdomen and things like that, or a CT scan. And I just became really curious, and I would ask the technicians, like, while they're doing the ultrasound, like, oh, what's that? What is this and that? Like, how did you get into this field? Like, what do you have to do? Did you have to go to school for? How long did you have to go to school for? What made you become an ultrasound technician? Do you have to, take a test? Like, or, do you have to get like a certificate, or like, things like that? And one day, I hope she don't get mad, one of the ultrasound technicians had left the room, and the transducer was like right there, and the machine was still on. So I picked it up and I started scanning myself, and then I heard somebody coming and I put it back. So that, when I was seeing what I was scanning the inside of my body, it sparked, and I knew from there, this is what I want to do. And so like I said, I was in and out of the hospital, and then the next time I went to the hospital, I ended up meeting a black ultrasound tech. He told me that he's been doing this for like over 20 years. He had his own private practice with his wife, and I was asking him,
family business,
right? Yeah, and I was like asking him questions. And then I've never really seen a black ultrasound technician before. Like, it was my first time. Not saying that they're not out there, because like, we out here. But, I was asking him questions, and, he was actually very professional, and he was able to answer my questions and things like that. And he told me about the field and things like that. So I ended up like going home, because I stayed in the hospital for like 5 days. The stone had passed, and I couldn't have the surgery. So then I was like, I'm gonna just change my diet, which I did, and that didn't work. Like I ended up doing just veggie broth all day, every day. I was not eating, and I still had a gallstone like get stuck in the duct, and had to go back to the hospital. So COVID happened, and I was thinking, like, everything is closed, everything is shut down. What happened? Like, people are out here scared, they don't have their jobs anymore. They don't know how to make money and things like that. And I thought about, what industry can you make money regardless if the world shuts down? And it's usually a service industry. One service industry, I'm not going to say on camera, and the other one is like medical, healthcare, because all the hospitals stayed open, and I know the other industry, and the people that are in it, it's no judge, but I come from a family where yeah and then I have a child, so I couldn't do that, but shout out to the ones that do, and I thought healthcare is still open, and you're still helping people. And at that time I was like, I don't really want to become a doctor, per se, because then I used to ask the doctors questions and stuff like that, and then you really realize that it's just a business. Healthcare is just a business, and a lot of doctors get personally sued.
Right.
They really do. And you know, it's a lot to go into that. So it's like, if I'm gonna do 10 years into a field, you know, like something like that, go get my degree, study and all this type of stuff, and then somebody sues me, and then it's like, that's it, you know? And then no, I was like, okay, well, you know, ultrasound technician is only like 18 months for the associate's degree, and you know, it's faster, it's easier,
It's a little less risky.
it's a little risky. You still have to get your own insurance because you can get sued too.
Right.
But you're still helping the people. So, because I'm a person where I care, and it would be very hard for me to tell somebody, oh, you have cancer, and just walk away, and you know, like things like that. Like it would break my heart. I'll be crying with them as if they're my family, you know. So I was like, this is a little bit easier on my heart. So, you know, I didn't finish high school, so I had to tackle that and get my high school diploma, which is crazy because, like I said, my GPA was great, but I was about 4 classes of graduating high school. So I had Nova. She was like a couple, like 6 months maybe when COVID happened, and it hit me that I need to get my high school diploma before she does, because how am I going to tell her to get her high school diploma and go to college, and I've never done that, you know? That would be me lying, and I did not want to lie to my child. So I got my high school diploma within 3 weeks. I found a program, and the school that I was going to, they offered like a business administration program, and then me into that, like a week into that, the school closed. So I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And then it popped in my head, oh, ultrasound. But I didn't know where to go, what to start. And the person that signed me up to the school had told me about ATI College. And that's how I started going there, which is crazy because it was on 6th and Catalina. So I didn't even know about Alexandria House at that time. You know?
Oh, but it was so close by.
Yes,
wow.
See, everything for me comes full circle.
Yeah.
It does. Like,
I love that.
Man,
the universe was telling you some stuff.
Man, they be doing a big one, for real. And, you know, I was going to school, and I was still having health issues, and I would still be in and out the hospital, and then, mind you, I'm still in and out the hospital, and during that, I'm still getting assignments done. I'm literally in a hospital bed on my cell phone, because they wouldn't allow you to bring laptops in the hospital, turning in my finals. And my teacher is like, you're on medical leave, it's okay. You know, you can, when you are out of the hospital, you can come back. I'll be like, no, I'm going to turn this in because I studied for it. I'm still going to, like, I'm still doing my work while I'm in a hospital having these gallbladder pain is more excruciating than actually giving birth for me. So,
oh goodness.
Yes. So I would be in so much pain, but I'm like, no, I got to turn this assignment in. And, you know,
well, I guess it'll help you keep your mind off of the
pain.
Yeah.
And also missing Nova, because I'm in the hospital for like 4 or 5 days, and you know, Nova, she's a baby, and I'm missing time away from her. So my mind is like, I have to stay focused. I have to finish this. I have to do something, because if I don't, I'm gonna lose momentum. I'm gonna lose all the things that I've learned and things like that. And the goal is just like, it's not going to get complete. So yeah, most people are like, you're crazy. Why are you in a hospital turning in work? Like the nurses would be like, are you really doing schoolwork right now? And I'd be like, yeah. And I'll be
any
like,
means necessary.
Man,
right?
I used to like stop the nurses when they come in, because like they would be like, you're so sweet. Like, you're one of the best patients I've ever had. I know when I come in here, you don't really need anything. Like, you're okay. You know, if you need help with bathroom, or if you need your medication or whatever, you're gonna let me know. So I would stop them, and I'd be like, quiz me. And they'd be like, okay, what part of the body is this? And I'd be like, oh, this is like your aorta, you know, like that's where your blood, you know, flows, and this and that. And like I'd be like, they would just quiz me because they know it, you know, they know this stuff. So they're like, all right, Darian, you got it. And they're like, you're not turning in your assignment, you're supposed to be resting. I was like, I can't rest. I cannot rest. You guys are bothering me every 2 minutes coming in a room. Like, this is not a vacation, so I'm just going to do my homework.
Yeah.
And then at that time, I would have the whole like hospital room to myself. So I'll be like, it's boring in here. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, just because you are a patient doesn't mean you have to be patient.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I do think, though, it's cool seeing how that curiosity you mentioned earlier just stayed with you, like, your whole life, and it kind of just, like, manifested in this, like, incredible perseverance in this just very turbulent time in your life.
Oh, yeah.
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 Wow. No, I find that incredibly admirable, dude. Like,
Thank you.
like, props to you for, like, studying through all that, and then going on to earn not only your GED, like, before that, but then also this BS recently.
Yeah.
And that was, so that BS process, like, that started while you were in the hospital, or
Yes,
like just
so-
shortly beforehand?
No, so that actually, I finished high school, so I got my high school diploma.
Yeah.
Then I got my associates in ultrasound technician. And then after that, I did my externship, and then I started the bachelor's degree. And then that was more, when I started the bachelor's degree, I think that's maybe the year post-COVID, like when everything started to open up.
Right.
And then I finished that, and it would be funny because at the school that I went to, at the location, they didn't have a lot of students. So sometimes I would be in class scanning myself, because I was like, if I can't if I can't perfect it on myself, how am I gonna perfect it on anybody else? You know, and everybody is different.
Yeah.
And I used to scan myself. I would scan my teacher. I would bring friends. You know, whoever I could scan at that time, I would scan. I would scan the it's crazy because I would scan the people that worked at the school. They'd be like, hey, can I scan you real quick? They'd be like, I'm busy, but yeah. You know, just to like practice, because you want to learn. It's about techniques and things like that. So you want to be able to find if there's an abnormality, or if there's, you know, a tumor, or if there's something wrong, or if there's a baby, because, you know, it might be a surprise. You know, you want to be able to see that. So I would still scan, and then after now I got my BS, and it's like it's crazy because I still have brain cells left, so I'm going back to somehow. Yeah, so now I'm going to go back to school to get my master's, starting next year because I missed the deadline for this year.
Right.
So I'm gonna start next year, but in the meantime, I am gonna start like another program. I'm thinking about pharmacy's technician.
Okay.
Just to have that under my belt, because like I said, I'm in the healthcare. And I want to learn pretty much everything, or maybe like a medical billing coding class. Yeah, and then also like it's crazy because in the middle of this, in the middle of me being sick and having these health issues and being a full-time student and a full-time mom, yeah, it was a lot, but it was cool to handle. Like it was crazy, but. And then also like started a new job, and then I would work 12 hours a day there, and then now I switched from my old company to their parent company, and now I just work 40 hours a week there. But it's a lot too because it's we go over benefits, so I literally am talking to someone about their benefits. So yeah.
The parent company you're talking about, that's United?
Yes, so
Okay.
I started off with OptumRx, which is their pharmaceutical company, and then I moved to United Healthcare on the employer and individual side. So now I just go over people's benefits. I go over it all with someone.
Yeah, well, I guess that's where the medical billing class would help, I guess.
Yeah, it would help there. And then because I would like to also get in prior authorization, I would like to get into the coding and claims and things like that. So that would be my next journey with them. And then eventually I would like to get a ultrasound job with them. I have to take the state test, and then once I take the state test, then I can apply for a job there.
And become like a licensed technician?
Licensed technician, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Dude, nice.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, it's been a long educational journey for you, but it's still ongoing. You're always learning, and you're able to manifest that in real progress for yourself, because you're only a test away now, right?
Yeah.
From really realizing that goal after not just like the lived experience, but like all of the different like studying that you had to accomplish in that time. Wow.
Yeah.
That is, dude, I can't believe for myself that you had gone through so much beforehand, and then you're still just using all of your brain power to like handle 20 things at once.
I know.
And like just really just keep building on yourself. I think that's really inspiring for me, because we're like about the same age, and you know, when I think about like becoming 30 soon, I think about like, man, like have I really done a lot in my life? And I look at you and I'm just like, oh dude, you can get so much done in the time that we've been here on Earth, and like just thinking about where you can go in your future is also just super just cool to think about, because you know, not only can you become a technician, you can like go on to do so many other things in healthcare. Because you're getting your master's, you're going to learn so much from that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not to put the pressure on now, but I can't believe that.
Even for my job, like I had to go through 18 weeks of training. Yeah.
Just the one that you have right now.
So it's a lot, but I love to learn. I've been always one of those scholars. Like I love to learn. I'm curious. I also think it's because I'm a Gemini. Like that's just me. So I love to learn. I love to learn something new, and I love to learn that I can master it, and I can master it in a quick time, because I'll be like, can I get that? Yeah, okay. Let's see how long it'll take me to get that. So yeah. And then also I did all of this while being homeless.
Right.
And dealing with, you know, like Nova and her being autistic and getting her up to par for, you know, her success in school. So it's, people say it's a lot, but I'll be like, it really wasn't. But honestly, if I wasn't myself, I would not know how to deal with that. I probably would have cracked, but I feel like God gave me the tools to be able to handle that. Even on days where I was just like, because there was days where I was just like, I can't do this at all. I want to give up. Like, and then I hear my mom in the back of my head, like, you give up for what? Like, you know, there's really, this is what I could say. There's really no time limit on when to get things done. Even though because I think it's just society that puts it on, oh, by 30 you're supposed to like have your together, you know. But let's be honest, with the day and the time that we're in, take your time of, you know, take your time, learn how to master it, you know, learn how to juggle and deal with things, because you don't want to rush, you know. I feel like when you rush, you're rushing to your death. As crazy as it sounds, like I said, I want to master things, but you really are. You know, take your time, enjoy life, enjoy what you do, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm enjoying this.
For me, I think what it was is a lot of people don't understand. They really manifest things. And even though I had a really good childhood, I did go through some stuff growing up, and mentally I was hurting, so I physically started to manifest. And a lot of people don't know, you hold your pain in your gut, so that created a lot of gut issues for me, because I wasn't properly getting the pain out. So now my body's reacting. So then, you know, I started to have gallbladder issues and stomach problems and things like that. Now that I'm not in survival mode and I'm actually stable, I don't have health issues anymore. Like, my health is getting better.
Because that stress just kind of like corroded you from the inside out.
Yeah. So now it's like, okay, this is what it feels like to actually sit down and relax. Like, now I'll be like, oh, okay, is everything okay? But I've learned to like, just relax, Darian. Everything is okay. You got your own place, you have your own car, things are good. So, you know, and even for Nova, sometimes like your body gets used to a shock and you're always on edge and pins and needles. And then when you finally rest, you realize, okay, you know, these are things that I kind of getting out and fighting out. And the same thing with her. Like, I feel like a lot of her issues is because of the environment that she was in. And since now she's been separated from that environment, she's better. But when she goes back to that environment, she comes back and she's sick. So,
yeah, it's just seeing what happened to you, like, reflected in her lived experience.
Yes, and you know, and that was another thing about me, because, like I said, I never knew that I was gonna be homeless. Like, I didn't see that for myself. Like I said, I grew up, even though I was in foster care, I grew up where it was like I wasn't in foster care. I got whatever pair of J's I wanted, had the newest outfit, you know, like things like that, you know, mom, brothers picking me up in like Audis, Benz, and Mercedes. Like, I had a backyard, I had like a dog and stuff like that, you know. Christmases where like the front room is filled with like gifts and things like that. So I never saw myself homeless. I never saw myself like being Nova's full-time parent by myself. And you know, things do happen. And when I got here, okay, so let me tell you the story about how I got here.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So I ended up getting my hair done at this one shop, and I just ended up like boo-hooing, crying. I was crying. And I haven't really got my hair done since I had Nova. And I think Nova was like, maybe, this was probably before COVID, so she was like 4 to 6 months old. And I went to the not nail shop, I went to the hair salon, and I was talking. The lady was just like, how are you, this and that. And I'm like, I lie, you know, because I didn't know her. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I really wasn't. And then I just started crying. And she was like, are you okay? And she like stood in front of me so like nobody else can see that I was crying. And she was like, sis, are you okay? And I was like, no. And she was like, what's wrong? And I'm just like, I'm really about to like do this all by myself. And she was like, do what? And I was like, raise a child by myself. And she was like, oh, you know, it's okay. She's like, been there, done that, you know. And you know, we're just telling about our stories and things like that. And she told me that she used to live at Alexandria House. Shout out to her. And she gave me the number, and she was like, give them a call. You know, she's like, only you would know when you're done with your partner and when you want to make a difference in your life. So I remember going back to, you know, my big daddy's house, and we used to get into fights and things like that. And it was this one last time, and I was just like, you know what, I didn't see this growing up, and I don't want my daughter to think this is okay. And I don't want her to see her mom and dad as monsters, because when we had her, it was out of love, and I knew that love was still there, but we needed to separate in order for her to have a successful life. And I remember like it took me 3 weeks to like really gather the courage to want to call Alexandria House, because when I thought of shelters and things like that, I thought of like Skid Row, 60 beds, you know, you've got to be there at 7 in the morning. Hopefully you get in, and you can't sleep because you don't know who you're sleeping next to. I didn't think I would get my own room, my own bathroom, like, you know, things like that. So I ended up coming down here for the interview, and they showed me the room, and we sat down in the creative room, had a meeting, and literally I called them every day, every hour of the day. And finally, you know, I was texting the manager of the girls at the time, and she was like, oh, we're waiting for this other lady to call back. Like, if she don't call back, then the room is yours. And I'm just like, no, this is mine. And I remember I was sitting on the floor and I had made a deal with God. And I said, God, if you give me this opportunity, I swear to God, I will make you proud. I would do whatever I need to do to make sure that not only my life is great, but Nova's life is great. And, you know, in a couple of days, I was like, hey, Darian, you know, can you come down here and move your stuff in because you have the room? And I was like, get out of here. I was so excited. And then, you know, I moved in. And it was scary at first because, you know, even though you have your own space, I didn't know anybody. And I still had to live with people that I did not know. And I was so used to living with someone that I knew, even though it might have been chaos at times, you know, that's what I know. And then also I live with my family, so I'm used to that. So when I got here, I had to get used to, and you know, the things here, how the program works and things like that. So that's how I got here. And when I got here, I made sure like I stayed in school. I finished my associates. I was working at Marshall's when I first got here, so I was just working part-time, and it was like off of Olympic. So here from there is a very long bus ride at that time because I was taking a bus or even Ubers and Lyfts. Yeah. So basically whatever I made that day, I spent on the Uber and Lyft. So it's like I wasn't really making any money. And I just took over the opportunities that Alexandria House had. Whatever they were throwing at me, I made sure that I was a part of. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you've done a lot since you entered here. I mean, yeah. Because it's not just that you're fighting for yourself. Like, you were fighting for Nova to like make sure that you were giving her a life that was, I guess, full of joy and like not just the stress. When I think about how you are before you enter Alexandria House and how you are like after. I wasn't there obviously, but I'm just glad that you kept that promise to yourself, that you were able to just, you know, make sure that she was like surrounded by people who cared. And I think like, you know, like the staff here genuinely did seem to care about what you were going through.
Yeah. You know, the staff, you know, they're very caring. I could talk to anybody about anything, and it really didn't matter. Like, even if they were busy, you know, they would say, hey, Darian, I can't talk to you right now because I'm busy. I need to take care of this. And then next thing you know, I get a knock on my door. Let's talk now. And they helped me out through a lot. They also introduced me to a lot of stuff that I would have never, you know, been a part of. I protested, you know, because of Alexandria House. And I also took Nova because I'm one of those parents that if I don't show her, I'm not leaving it up to anybody else to show her. So I want to set the example, and I want her to see it. So, you know, I took her protesting, and that was fun. Yeah,
with Judy, right?
No, Judy didn't go that day. It was just, I was the only one, and Michelle
Richards?
No, the other Michelle.
Michelle Tom?
Yeah, she was there, and we went to Sacramento, and it was my first time actually in the Bay Area. Crazy. Nice. And I was hoping to meet the governor, but he wasn't there. One day, we gonna have a talk.
You hear this, Gavin?
Listen, somebody tag him, but no. But so I went up there and we protested for housing rights. And, you know, you always hear about protests, but I never been a part of it, and that what made me spark, like, if you're going to do something, like, it's not. And also about healthcare, I didn't go into healthcare because of, I can make so much money. I literally went into healthcare as like, how can I change someone's life, you know, because it's really not about money. It's cool to have money, but I don't do things for money. When I do it with love, and that's how I see it. But yeah, so Alexandria House introduced me to that. They introduced me to Susla.
Yeah.
I've always thought about starting my business, but I didn't know where to start. And with this program, I was able to execute a business plan, actually start buying inventory, going to the little, what's it called? Like the little shops and stuff and sell, and I'd never done that before. And also Nova was there, so she's able to see it.
Yeah, it's good that she was there for the whole process.
Man.
She saw you do a lot of stuff.
Man, yes, she did. And it's crazy because back to the protest, she was like, I guess, because we traveled from 3 a.m. until we got there, and I guess when she got there, she was just over it. And everybody's like, yeah, I want to scream on the ground too. And she was like, yeah, human rights, housing rights. And I'm just like, oh God, she's really having a meltdown, and y'all are really encouraging her.
Yeah.
But even here, with Nova, this was her first time being in school. And even with, the child care here, Miss Lima, she really, she was okay with she got where I was coming from, and she helped me out with that. Even her going to another school, the volunteers from Pilgrim School, they're like, hey, you need to do this and this. This is what you do when you ask for an IEP, this and this and this. Make sure they get. It's like, so I met so many good souls here that helped me get to where I'm going to.
Yeah.
Even the last what's it called? The sipping tea, and I spoke.
Oh yeah, the teen tour.
Teen tour. Yeah, and then so many people came up to me and was like, "Oh my God, keep going! You're an inspiration," and things like that. It's not like I don't see myself like that, but it's really good to hear it from other people that, hey, despite what I've been through, people are I would have never known, and it's and also I think that's why people shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and that's what I've learned through this journey, because like I said, I never saw myself as homeless because I wasn't out on the street and on the stigma behind it, and it's anybody can become homeless. You're all literally one paycheck away from being homeless, and being here helped me a lot. It healed me. It gave me time to breathe, and it gave me time to become a better mother, and get my mind right, even for myself but also for her, for Nova. And it's just it was cool. It has its up and down, but
yeah, I think it's cool for myself too, seeing your story, because you make me want to persevere through all the things that I go through. Because I was at the teen tour, I saw your story then, just a glimpse of what you'd been through, and I just think that you have been able to take on all of the best qualities from the people who are staffed here, and also the other residents too, who are in community. I think that it's that neighborly presence, especially similar to what you had in your childhood. I think that having that carry on has created this resilience in you. Yeah. And that resilience has enabled you to become a really great mother, a really great entrepreneur, and just a great person in general, just, taking care of people, whether that be through Ultrasound or whether that be through your business or just your neighborly deeds. I mean, I know that you're involved in a lot of the community stuff around here, and I mean, in Nova's school as well, it's just a lot of great qualities that I think that you brought here and that were shared with you here, and I just like that love was being bounced back and forth.
It's reciprocating, and that's how it's supposed to be. I feel like when someone pours into you, you pour back into it. And my thing was when I came here, my main big concern was Nova, because she used to living, you know, mom and dad, G-Pop, G-Ma, you know, living together. So when she came here, it was kind of hard for her to adjust to it. And I still had help from the staff and even the other moms. Like Nova, you know, she at that time, she didn't like loud noises, so it's hard to take her to dinner. Nobody made her feel any type of way because she's having a tantrum. Everybody stopped what they're doing. Oh, okay, Nova, it's okay. You know, let's go outside. Or, hey, Nova, it's okay. Like, everybody was so loving towards her. Yeah. And that was my main concern, too, because I wanted to make sure she was treated right. And at that time, Nova was more kind of nonverbal at that time. And, you know, she had a hard time expressing herself through words in the right way. So, and also she was a baby. No. Babies have tantrums. But nobody made me feel bad as a mom because of her outburst. You know, everybody's like, wow, Darian, like, you handled that really well. I would have probably, you know, beat my kid. Not beat, but, you know, like, discipline my kid, or, you know, I would have went crazy. Like, and you were like, you're really loving and stuff like that. And even like the child care, you know, it's crazy, like, seeing her this past 2 years and how she grew and how she's becoming her own self. And now she's able to tell you what she wants, you know, she's able to speak to you and things like that. And it's like, without the support here either, I don't know if that would have happened, you know, for her. And, you know, it is a loving place. You know, like I said, there's good and bads, but, you know, everybody kind of does look out for each other. I know, like, even when I come in there, first thing they say, where's Nova? I'm like, hi, you know, hi guys, I came to see you guys, like, hello. Or, you know, or they see Nova, where's your mom, you know, like, things like that. So I love that. And I didn't know I was going to get that here because I didn't know, but it was great. And I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. I'm really glad that she was just tagging along and getting encouragement to, I guess, kind of find her voice. I guess you've been enabled to, you know, share a lot of stuff about yourself and, like, find some things out about yourself. And for my own work, I also have been able to hone in on my own, like, creative voice in a way. Yep. I think that this is just a good place to sort of help you figure out what works for you. And that can look so different for so many different people, but I think that for you and Nova, it just you guys just fit in so well, and it just looks like effortless almost, like the way that you guys handle stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, you kind of are just a superwoman to me. Like, I don't know how you do it, but
I don't know how I do it.
Yeah, you really do make it happen. And for both of you, I think that you're well, you're both really, like, I think you're doing very well for yourselves, like, when it comes to not just your own recovery, like, from, like, different health issues, but like, also, like, your deep dive into health education. And even beyond that, now Nova's getting her education too. Yeah. That is just really exciting for me. She's about to be in first grade.
I know.
Is she, like, gravitating towards any special interests in school?
She likes to read a lot. Nova was my study partner. So nice. I used to we used to read the Ultrasound physics book together. And you know, she loves to read. Like, she will read anything to you. She also likes to, I think, music. She loves music, so she loves playing music, learning music, and singing. Yeah.
Well, she's been taking the music classes with Brent that we have, right?
Yeah, she started with him, not now, but she started, like, when he first came here, or when I first came here, when they were starting. But she now takes her own private guitar class on Sundays.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. So
that's cool.
because we can't make the Saturday class because Nope and we'd be out.
Wow. So she just gets lessons at your place now?
Mm-hmm. I have a teacher that comes. They sit on the patio back there, and you know.
Oh.
So they're out there for like an hour and 30 minutes, and you know, they have their own lessons and things like that. And I think she likes it. She likes sports too.
Mm-hmm.
Academically, probably reading. So I think she's going to be good in English, and probably history.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she carries that same curiosity from you.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear her play, honestly.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, Nova? Like, I remember I took her, we were looking at an apartment prior to me moving out. And I think it's not far from here. I forgot what street it's on. But anyways, the apartment was a studio. They didn't have no kitchen. It was small, and they want $3,000 for it. I was like, what? Anyways,
Whoa.
That's another story. But in the lobby, they had a piano there. So Nova started playing the piano. She's never played the piano before. I played the piano. I never told her I played the piano. I forgot what the keys are. Like, when I say she was playing, and she was doing this, and then she would like play the piano like as if she saw the notes. And I was like, ooh, she's gonna be dangerous. Like,
that's a savant right there. Yeah, she's carrying on your energy, I guess.
And then also her dad, because her dad is, he came from music background. I also come from a music background, so like it's in her soul. You know, she's going to master that first take. But nice. So she's. I was like, oh, do you want to ask her, like, do you want to do piano or do you want to learn the guitar? And she wanted to learn the guitar. I have my guitar. I have a electric guitar, and I used to kind of just play for fun, not trying to be professional, but just, you know, learn the chords and play for fun. So when she's a baby, I would take it out and like show her the strings and stuff like that.
Nice.
So she was like, Mommy, I want to learn the guitar. And I said, okay. So I ended up meeting with the regional center. And they basically partnered with the school, and now she has her guitar lessons. So yeah, and I was like, you know, with kids, I feel like you have to have certain structure and schedules, and also be interested in what they're interested in. So she said she went to learn the guitar, so baby's learning the guitar. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure by 10 she's probably gonna have a rock band.
Yeah.
Perform in the backyard, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think that Nova Ham is just a hard like rock star name.
Man, she should really do. Yeah, that would be crazy. That actually would be crazy.
I don't know. I mean, she has the talent for it. She has the spirit transferred from you. Yeah. If she has the support here, I mean, we would love to see her, you know, keep that passion going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love that you both have like just this deep commitment to what you guys have started to learn.
Yeah.
Would you say that your transition from Alexandria House has been one where you feel more stable coming out? Or like closer to what you envision for yourself in your life?
It's definitely, you know what? It was more than what I thought it was gonna be. When I moved out, it was like the first of the year, this year, and then I had my surgery 5 days later, and then I was on bed rest. So now that I'm healed, you know, I thank God, I thank myself for continuing to not give up, you know, and keep going, because this is just a start. You know, Alexandria's house was just basically how I see it is, that was my bottom, you know, it's only up from here. So it's like, I can't go any lower than this. And I just think I thank God and I thank myself that, you know, I'm out of that. I'm out of the statistic. I'm out of, you know, knowing that I can't change my life. Like, I've changed my life, you know? No. I've changed Nova's life. Nobody can tell me nothing. I'm turning into my mom.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell me nothing. Like, I've proven to and it's crazy because people will say that, but like now me looking back, I proved to myself that I can do anything. And you know, it makes me really happy because I'm raising a black little girl, you know. And I remember having conversations with my mom, and my mom would be like, you know, like the odds are against you, you're like a foster, like not like that, but she'd be like, I'm gonna be real with you, like you're a foster kid, you know. Like when my mom got me, like I said, I was 7 days old, and the doctor had told her they didn't think I was gonna make it to 30 days, you know. And if I did, they thought I was gonna be at that time, you know, special, you know. And she said, I knew from the moment I laid my eyes on you that you're I don't give a, you know what they say, you're gonna be great. And you know, I am great. And I think the same thing for Nova. Like, she's gonna be great, you know. She's been through the worst with me, so she knows where she comes from. And I want this to be an inspiration to her, that if I can do it, you can do it too, you know. It's that simple. And the support, the love will always come. The people that need to be in your life, they'll always come, but you have to be the one to initiate, you know, it. And you gotta trust God, you know, because man, there were some times where I'd be like, what are we doing? Where are we going? No, I don't trust you. Yeah. You did this to me, like, you know. And you gotta trust the vision. Sometimes you're not just the painter, and you're not the person that's in the picture. Like, you have to trust everything. You have to trust the process, and you just can never give up. Even when you feel like giving up, just don't give up. Mm-hmm. Don't give up. I'm not giving up, even if after I move on, after I transition, I want to leave stepping stones here that people will remember me in the next lifetime. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of unforgettable. I think so. Yeah. I think that just based off of what you said, like, I can see how, like, for you and for a lot of the people who have been through this program, like, you really can start from anywhere, and it's not just control that creates stability. Like, you just have to have trust in the process, and you have to just carry on the resilience that you carried ever since you were a baby. Like,
yeah. I know.
Yeah, just like, I think that faith that you had in yourself and in Nova, in the people around you, has just led you to incredible things. But of course, like, there was like hard work to be done, and you continue to do that, which is just so badass.
Thank you.
And yeah, no, really. And beyond that, I think that even though in life there's so many things that are uncertain for us, that trust, that resilience, and just that commitment to the people around us can just take us really far. And the future that I see ahead of you is just so bright that, like, all of the past experiences kind of just like becomes like outshined. Yeah. And I think that even though life got really tough, you're tougher. So
surprisingly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that, you know, like, whatever obstacles might be in your way, like for any of your professional goals, your personal goals, they're going to be overcome, maybe not with ease, but just with just the person that you are, because you have made it. Yeah. I like you said, like, you transformed your life, and now that you've like been this like kind of like person, like in this like kind of crucible, like getting like really put to the test, you're gonna show everyone now, I think, that like you're kind of like coming out of this like cocoon, and like you're like about to like spread your wings,
yeah,
you know,
like a butterfly.
yeah. It's just good to celebrate that you've transformed, like that you're changed, and I'm just glad that we get to share that with so many people.
Thank you. And also, you know, to pinpoint that, I had to learn to love and celebrate my success, because, like you said, it doesn't go unnoticed. And, you know, sometimes, even for myself, I get wrapped up in what I'm doing or what I'm trying to do, that I don't realize that, wow, I've overcame being homeless, health issues. Even just this year, I had a back surgery. Then I lost my brother 2 weeks like after that. And, you know, I was on bed rest, so I couldn't even be there for his last couple of hours, like face to face. And even like losing my mom, and, you know, depression and all of that. It's just, I had to learn that it's okay to look at what you've been through and just celebrate it. And you never know that, I didn't know that people were watching me, you know. I didn't even know people were cheering me on. And, you know, it's okay to be like, wow, even this past Saturday when I graduated, I had to embrace the moment, because a lot of people don't know how hard that was, you know. Yeah. And the medical field is not an easy field to be in. It's not an easy field to study, you know. And it took a lot of dedication. I learned the root meaning of dedication. When you see dedication, you're gonna see Darian, okay? So, you know, you have to love your success. I don't put myself down on my failures. I don't see them as failures. I see them as lessons. Because I'm also a person that's always in my head, and I'm always thinking about what I could have done. And I had to get myself out of that type of mindset. And, you know, I'll be like, okay, this happened, and it's not fine, but, you know, learn to do something differently the next time, because we're still here, or I'm still here, and you can change. And that's what I also teach Nova. Like, everything is not permanent. You know, you can change your environment. You can change who you are. You can be a better person. You could be a horrible person if you want to be that, but, you know, you still have to deal with the consequences. And, you know, I don't know. I just always wanted to make myself proud. I wanted to make my mom proud. I wanted to make my family proud. I want to make Nova proud. I want her to look up and be like, dang, that's my mom. That's my mom, you know? So hopefully one day she understands. But
well, I feel like if I were her, I would be so proud of you already.
Yeah,
just
it's crazy because she'd be like,
yeah.
She'll come up to me. She's like, Mom, I'm so proud of you, and I love you so much. And I'll be like, I could die right now. I'll die happy knowing that you believe it, and I believe what you're saying. So, you know, if, like I said, I go back to always, you know, if I don't show her this, who will, you know? And I know one day I'm not going to be here. You know, I'm not going to be here, and I want her to know, like, she can still do it. My mom wasn't here. That death alone almost killed me. So, the fact that, and then the stuff after her passing away. So I want her to know that you come from resilient women. You can be one. So, yeah. And then also others people too, because you never know who's watching and who gets inspiration, and it's like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it too, you know? I'm just here to change the world. In a good way.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've changed my world, Darian. Like, you were one of the first success stories I saw coming out of here. Like, right out the gate, you know, like, despite all your surgeries that had happened,
I know.
like, you know, you were really going through it, but, you know, we could tell, like, all of us in the house, we were all just, like, so excited for you two. And, like, now that it's, like, been some time since you've been able to recover, like, I feel like I'm starting to see you, like, start to, like, thrive and be in your bag.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm trying.
no, I mean it really is. It has become that. I mean, you've earned your associates. You've earned like the credentials that you need to start moving forward, and you're only building on top of that. Like,
Yeah.
like what better model for success could there really be out of a place like this? You know,
Yeah, that's true.
like you get people who come through this place. Like not everyone can like make the transition happen
Yeah.
as smoothly as you have. You know, everyone gets like help in different ways over here, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying like everyone here is like still rooting for you to
Aw,
like keep
thank
going
you.
after your dreams and like really change the world like in the way that you're changing Nova's, in the way that you're changing mine and everyone else's. I mean, I guess with that said, like, congratulations
Thank you.
on your graduation. You and Nova's graduation.
Yes, because she graduated
Yeah.
on Friday. And
Yeah.
it's crazy because, like, we really are twins. Because we're the same sign. We're 3 days apart. And I always try to show her, like, you can do it. So she graduated Friday, and then she's walked the stage, and then it's like I saw her walk the stage. Now she gets to see mommy walk the stage. And it's just like, it was really cool, and I saw the spark in her eye, and that's what I wanted, because like I want her to know that, you know, despite what people don't see, despite what I go through, like you can still push through and become, and you can always do what you want to do if that's what you set forth for. You know, it's gonna take some work, but you know you can do it. And then probably for Nova, tell her one thing that she gets it, so like you have it easier, you know, like, but you know I had to show her.
Yeah, do what you gotta do, whatever it takes, you know.
Yeah.
Whether that includes like scanning some friends,
Right.
or you know,
And
just
then
doing your work on your cell phone in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that brings me to the end of my conversation with Darian. As always, I hope I've left you with a sense of empowerment to learn more, to engage with the community, and to be a catalyst for positive change. As always, I hope you stay informed, stay engaged, and remember that your voice and your curiosity have the power to shape a better future. So until next time, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and follow us on social media to stay connected. And of course, welcome to the Sisterhood.